Nick from vireengines.com. I'm just going to show you a little video today because I'm sending off this Vire 7 to USA probably Tuesday. It's bank holiday Monday, and it's just an interesting snapshot here to see what happens if you order an engine from me internationally. So you get this plywood reusable crate which you could pick up safely between your legs and keep your back straight, but what makes it a lot easier is a skateboard. You can just put a skateboard under here and wheel it around in and out. So that's what I do, and I'll show you how easy this is to unpack, because I've specially designed this myself so that customs can inspect it and you can get it in and out as you choose. So what you've got here basically is just these yellow screws. There's 4 on the front and there's 4 on the back, and you can just use a electric screwdriver if you want to save time, and these come straight out. That's the 4 rear ones. And the beauty of this crate is you can reuse it if you're doing an exchange to send your old engine back, which is good for recycling. And basically with those screws out, the top just lifts off. I'll put this on a tripod because I want 2 hands with this. So just fingertips and it's off. How easy is that? Now, this particular model is a 7. You can see the spark plug is at the rear of the cylinder, and it's what I call military spec finish. So this has had a professional shot blasted. Oh, what's happening? Sorry, it's had a professional shot blasted finish, and that is removable for inspection purposes. Just the 8 screws and you're good to go. This means if customs needs to inspect it, they're not going to weaken the crate, so we're good. Now, next step is I'm going to put this on my test rig. I'll commission the engine, as it were. I want to just check that this is perfect again before it goes out. This is my test bench. So what I'm going to use is, I could just take out these 4 bolts, which are 19, 17 mil, and that's easy. So I lack a long socket, and this is the only thing holding the engine in there. So, taking these out. These are coach bolts. Everything's carefully engineered to reduce the weight, but make sure there's enough strength in everything where it's needed. And this engine, without the dyno start, I guess is about 52 kilos. So no, it's 56 width and it's 9. It's about 48, 45 kilos. So as long as you keep the weight below between your knees, I should say, you can lift this and even walk it onto the boat, which you can't really say of any other engine. And so I'm going to use my muscles a bit here. One hand under the back and on the front, bend my knees, keep my back straight, and I can lift it up, walk it on the bench, and we are good. we're on the bench. By the way, there's a Vire 12 next to it, just for comparison. You'll see the differences between these two engines. There's not a lot, but the 12 has the spark plug on the front, and it has a different carburetor, which is Bing, and a side mounted fuel pump for that carburetor. The 7 doesn't have the spark plug on the front, has it in the rear, and the carburetor's not on here, but it's a Tillotson. It doesn't have a pump here, just a pipe. So those are your obvious differences. This is a late model, so it's got an exhaust with cast-in mounting points for the remote controls. The early models didn't have that, had some wraparound. This 12, incidentally, has got my latest stainless steel exhaust on, which is different to the originals. The originals are like this, and they had the cast-in lugs as well, but they tended to corrode and need an awful lot of work. So that one's stainless steel, and that stainless steel is also an option on a 7 now, but this being a later exhaust with no rot in it at all is not necessary really. So what I'm going to do is pause here. Okay, so now basically all I've done is I've got a block of wood, and I've got 2 coach bolts through my bench, which are just hand tightened up, and I'm going to take away these packing tapes. There's one here just to mark TDC on the flywheel, and the only reason for that is that I like to park them so the piston's near top dead centre. That means the oil is trapped around the rings and it wouldn't seize even if this was stored for years. I've got a rag just blocking the carburetor hole. Got another taped in rag here blocking the exhaust hole. It's just a sticker here saying that it's oil inside, so remove plug. So what we'll do is we'll take the spark plug out, and what will be necessary the first time this engine throws over is to put a rag here, and we can catch the oil, and that way we don't ruin the spark plug. Alternatively, you can just there we go. So I'll get a rag. Nice absorbent one, please. That's pretty good. Catch that down there. HT well away. So I'm going to have to put a dyno start on here, an exhaust system and carburetor with the fuel going in, and of course the water pump, which I'll prime so that the impeller is wet before we try turning the engine over. Otherwise the blades turn, it could heat up the blades and damage them. It's unlikely, but to be cautious, always make sure the impeller is wet before you start the engine. So I'll pause here and connect up these other services. Just show you how simple the carburetor connections are here. So you've got 2 studs here, which and a bit of tape over the suction hose. So on this case I pre-assembled this carb. The customer is actually reusing his own dyno start and auxiliaries. He's just having this engine, but if you get the whole engine, I've already put the gaskets both sides for you, and it just plops on. There you go. And then you've got these 2 nuts. Now these can be a fiddle, so put a rag if you're not used to it, and I seem to have the technique now. But you get them both started, finger, get them on about 1 turn. There we go. nearly. Right, that's on one turn, and this one is a bit of a fiddle. You can loosen this clamp if you want, but you grab it in the correct way. What you can do is use a couple of screwdrivers to get in here and help, instead of just your fingertips. Anyway, I've done it with fingertips, but you can let it slide down a screwdriver. There's various techniques. I think I've detailed these in the videos. And then basically you need a 10mm spanner and do it up. Both sides. Probably the trickiest thing you've got on the whole engine to change, and as you can see, what I've done is I've changed it with the linkages already on there, and you know, people adjust these and change them, so in my opinion keep these the same as original, and it just saves a lot of work. If you took all of these things off, you'd end up with a whole pile of parts. It's just not necessary. There's just two nuts you want to get at, and that's fine. And I've got some fuel here which is filtered, and I've got this modern push on. Obviously on the boat you would be using proper fuel hose and clips, but this is just my test rig, so I can get away with that. Right. So the next thing we've got is this dyno start, and it's just basically two big bolts here, which are 17mm heads, and then a 13mm spanner for the adjuster. So the bolts, one for the front, and I have got, I should point out, this beautiful front belt protector for this engine, but I'm not going to put this on because it's just test running. It's not actually in the boat, so I'll leave that off. As this is a military spec engine, instead of the original 17mm, I've got stainless steel hex bolts, which are just look nicer, more reliable, and same for the rear one. So there's my dyno start. That can go on. Make sure the HT's in a sensible position. That's it. And then we've got the belt, which will hold it roughly in position. There we go. And we've got the adjuster. Another put a bolt here. These are all stainless steel fittings which I've done. All my A1 military spec type engines have these extra touches on them. So I'll do those up, and I'll just show you first the exhaust which I've got. This is a what do they call this thing? It's a water lock. That's what it is. Just two bolts We've got some, normally on the boat you'd use some sealant between the gaskets, and then there's just a couple of lock washers. There's 2 nuts, which are 13mm. I use a socket on these, which is a deep socket that really speeds it up. So I'm going to do those up, I'm going to tighten these, and then I've got to plug the water on. So I've got my 10mm bore hose, and that will go on to the stub there. I can see actually now that I've put in place to stop this dribbling in transit. I've got a section of rubber hose, which is nice. Just as normal screwdriver will release that clip, and the idea of this is that there's no water dribbling in the crate during transit and leaking, drawing attention to customs, etc. So, and what I do is I go closed circuit on these. So there's your outlet. I've connected it to the pump. There's a good trick. If you need to take your boat out of the water, with a Vire 7 you can do this. So the hose which normally goes to your seacock, you take it off the seacock and you put it into the outlet of the cylinder. That way it's closed circuit. You can keep that filled up with water and antifreeze, and that means that the engine is protected from corrosion inside the aluminium exhaust especially. It won't dribble out, and you could even run the engine for 5 minutes without connecting an external supply. So that's nice to do as well. If you've got the boat on hard standing for say 6 months and you're not in the water, by doing closed circuit it allows you to run the engine without even using a bucket or something to so I'll tighten up my hose, which is fed from this bucket, and I've got a reservoir of water in there. There's only about a gallon of water, and that will last about 10 minutes, which is twice as long as I'll need for testing up this engine. And I've got a priming squeegee bowl, so I can make sure the water is already up to the level of that impeller. So I'm going to tighten these bolts up, and let me pause there. Okay, so I just got a few tools, that's all. So what I've done is I made sure these nuts and bolts which I put to Allen is the same size 6mm Allen key as you get in your kit anyway, so you'll already have this on board. There you go, a little bit of tension on there. It's fine for doing our purposes. And then back here, there's a little bit of tension. Fine. And then I've got a long extension I like to use for these 2 exhaust bolts. Make sure the hole's lined up for your engine mount. If you're using that type of water lock, it bolts down onto the engine mounting. That's good. Okay. And now that hose, which is outlet, of course this injects into the exhaust fitting on Vire 7, so that's fitted. I'll do that up. Otherwise you won't get the water going into the rubber exhaust hose, which means that it will be noisier and it will be a lot hotter and could melt your pipe, which you don't want. And then you'll, in order to start the engine, basically what you need is the earth connected. We've got this fast harness on my test rig, and you need the 30H terminal with your battery and starting apparatus, whatever you've got. I won't even bother connecting the Dynastar charging terminals because I know that they're fine. So I'm going to prime the fuel. So I've got a little squeegee pump here. I'll bring this up until I can hear it pop. There, I heard a little out the carburetor. That means the air has been pushed out by the fuel. So there's now fuel in the bottom of that carb. And I've got to, before I start it, make sure my spark plug is well out of the way. And I want to catch the oil, which is going to come out of this hole. Let's see. That's fine. There's almost nothing there. That's good. Right. So we're not going to have a compression lock up on this. Let's put the spark plug back in. Clean up any oil residue if you had any ejected there. Just keeps it tidy. Spark plug. Now we're going to connect the HT. So it should fire up. Choke on. Revs look okay. Water's been primed. Let's get the exhaust on, or it's going to be very noisy. Haha. I'm just going to get an adapter because I'm using 50mm hose. I need 40. Okay, yeah, that was pretty easy because in my workshop this hose is reversible. I got 40 on one end and 50 for the Vire 12s on the other, so I just needed to swap that round, tighten it up, and we're ready to go now. So this basically puts 12 volts on that 30 pin. You could do this with battery cable if you wanted. I'll put the vacuum hose on. That's why it's not pumping. Let's reprime that. My mistake. That actually powers the fuel pump inside. And I can see that the water is coming through in that exhaust, which is nice to see. The leak here is because I haven't tightened this up well enough. Anyway, you can tighten all these things in your boat. I just wanted to test that engine starts fine, and I'll retighten that and we'll have another go in a minute. I think you regret doing these things. Sometimes they happen live. That's where the water injects into the exhaust pipe. Ah, good. So, all running. Now I'll just show you the tools which I used so far. So, in order to get the crate apart, you've got your crate top, which comes out with the 8 screws, and Then you've got a 17mm socket to take these 4 coach bolts out. Incidentally, there's my rough dimensions if you want to build your own crate. You're welcome to. And I have a little overlap on the front and back. And obviously I build the base first, and then you can have the 2 side plates, and then you construct your sides and top. So the strength has to be, when they pick it up with the handles, it pulls it on these 4 screws so it doesn't rip apart. That's the way I've designed it, and that's quite light. So tools, basically you've got that 17mm socket, you've got the Phillips screwdriver to take the case bolts out. You need a 17mm spanner to do up the Dynastart bolts here, and then you need a 13mm spanner to do the nuts on the Dynastart, and also your exhaust here. And this is just in case you want to stop the engine and you don't have it wired up. If you short between the black wire and the earth wire, you'll see you can put a pair of pliers in here. That will stop the engine and it will start instantly. The other way of stopping the engine is to pull the choke on, but the trouble with that is it slightly floods the engine and it's hesitant to start. So if you've got a piece of wire or that, it'll do it. Then you've got the 6mm Allen key, which is for your flywheel cover, and if you've got the uprated fittings that I've supplied in stainless steel, that'll fit those. I've got a 7mm little key, which is great for doing up these Jubilee clips. Sometimes they're 7 and sometimes they're 8, and sometimes, like that one on the exhaust there, they're neither, they're just a flat bladed screwdriver fit. So have those things handy. And that's a 10mm spanner, which is for the 2 nuts on the carburetor. There you are. That's all you need, from getting it out of the crate to getting it running on the bench or in your boat. A little bit more sealant and security on those tightenings. It's that simple. This engine was designed for the owner to install it. When Valmet made these engines originally in the 1960s, they made the Vire 6. I'll show you, I've got one over here. This little thing, and this is a little bit lighter, but the idea was that you could pull this out with your hands, obviously it's not to scale, and store it overnight. And it was very simple to install. You don't get this with a diesel engine because they have a damn great heavy flywheel. But with the Vires, you don't have to have a heavy flywheel because you're not a diesel. It's low compression, so it doesn't wear and it's not critical. It's easy to start. But you do have to pay attention on any petrol engine to the carburetor. And inside here you've got the ignition system. So there's a set of points here. I'll just open those by hand and you'll see these little babies. So basically, if you put a new set of those in and don't ruin them with sandpaper every 10 years, and then every 4 years the carburetor needs an overhaul. There's a rubber membrane you can see here, just needs replacing. There's 8 screws around, and you can clean it out. This is a very reliable engine. It's lighter and easy to install. You can buy this. I can give you all of the auxiliary parts you might need, like prop shaft adapters, and I've got a polished air intake for this as well. And there's all the Morse fittings for these remote controls, but I don't need those to test it today. Whatever you need, I've got a variety of different exhaust systems, original ones, refurbished ones, which are all coming online, and you can get the whole kit. I've even got propellers. I've got about 20 different impellers for this engine, and shafts, shaft seals. I've got engine mounts. Have a look on vireengines.com. Most of the parts that people like to order are on there. There are a lot of parts which are not on vireengines.com, and that's because I simply haven't got round to listing them. So do drop me an email, whatever you want or can think of. I probably already got it, and if I haven't refurbished it ready to ship out, I will be able to do within a day or two. So just ask. Anyway, this is Nick from vireengines.com. Thanks for watching, and I hope you order, whether you're in USA like this customer is, or Australia, or Europe, Canada, Argentina. We've got customers all around the world. I don't ship a lot, but what I do is I make sure it's really good quality and everybody is happy. So thanks very much.